Hey guys, yeah, I still haven't showered or changed my clothes since like 4 videos ago. We've been doing them like one after another. This is an Authortube video actually, and this is the story ideas writing tag. Now, I first saw this on Charles Heathcote's channel, but he was tagged by Emma Rosen, and I watched her video too, but I don't know who did this originally. So, um, public domain. Okay, so current story. What is your current story idea that you are working on right now? Um, right now, it has the um, kind of top secret title of the Dicks, and that's what I'm working on right now. Um, can I tell you? Okay, it's kind of like it's part like detective story, part monster shit, part superhero. Um, but like focused like on a hard-boiled detective kind of thing. So it's kind of like everything I like in one thing, and it's a serial, and it's going to be online, and then I will collect volumes and stuff. So I've been writing that to try to stay ahead of the schedule that I want to put out on, which will be weekly, hopefully. Spark of inspiration. Do your ideas begin with characters, plot, world building, or something else entirely? A lot of times my ideas start with a title. Like I'll come up with a title that I think is really like, ooh, that's a good title. I need to do something with that. Or a genre, like, because I like to write in different genres and stuff. But I guess characters would be um, kind of the main focus, and then things will kind of come out from there. Number three, brainstorm. How do you puzzle piece your story elements together? Do you start with the ending and make your way to the beginning, or vice versa? Um, a lot of times when I have the characters and everything set up and a title, usually before I've done anything else, um, I'll have a key part to the story, whether it's how the story starts or how the story ends, or like the big plot drop or something like that, like some big event in the story. um, and it is usually the ending, and or close to the end, like the climax, I guess. And then I will come up with like a beginning and kind of like outline a beginning, and then kind of bullet point the rest of it, and then just kind of pants my way through it. Is usually how that works. Keep or toss. How do you know when you want to keep or dump a story idea? I don't. I don't know. There's probably a lot of stories that I should have dumped, but I have a problem with that. Like, I can't do that. It's like a OCD thing. So, like, no matter like what I'm working on, like if it's a thing that like I will end up dumping, even though like there's stuff that I haven't worked on for years, I still don't think I've dumped it. I just haven't worked on it. So, original idea. How much of your original idea for your story is actually used once everything is finished? almost all of it. There's been one time in one book where um, I took a chapter out because I thought it gave too much away, and I wanted to save that for the next book in the series. Um, and so I did that. There, there was another time though too. I think I actually took a chapter out because I thought it wrapped things up too nicely in Black Star Canyon.
Mm.
I think I did that with it was a scene with Grover, the coroner guy,
Oh, yeah,
and Colton Dakota and Becca. And yeah, I think that's what that was. Um, and in the Dicks that I'm working on now, um, I tried to do this thing, and I might still do it, but it seemed like a train wreck of an idea. Um, but all of the different series I've written, I tried to put them all into one universe where, like, all of the characters could interact with one another if they wanted to. So, like, in, like, the gavel, it never actually says it, but the gavel takes place in, like, the early 40s. And, I had characters from the gavel in the Dicks that takes place like in present day. And then I was gonna take Hank Bradshaw from my Dead Dame series thing, who is, again, it's not said, but like I picture him in New York, him coming to the West Coast. And I'm like, should I write a story about him having to go to the West Coast? Or should I just have him like be in the West Coast all of a sudden and just never bring up the fact that he was on the East Coast? Um, and so I wrote like a chapter of the Dicks with some of the Gavel characters. And then I finally just said, this is fucking ridiculous. I spent almost a year like trying to figure out how to piece all of my stories together into like one like geographical area. Like it wasn't even like same universe. I'm talking like same zip code. So it was like kind of a nightmare. Um, but other than that, everything stays in. And I usually only do one draft because that's what I wrote. And I shouldn't fuck with it, which is probably a horrible idea. Um, hide or share? Do you share your book ideas with friends or keep them secret? I guess I keep it secret because this is the first time I've said the Dicks is what I'm working on right now. And it's funny, she just gasped, but I've said it like 5 times in this video already. But like I keep posting like the Dicks are coming on like Instagram and Twitter. And in the Weird Mask zine that's coming out, the next two actually have ads for it and then the release date and all that other shit. So, um, yeah, I don't even remember what the question was now. Oh, yeah, I hide it. And I've been talking to like people in this Voxer chat of writers that I talk to, and I keep like talking to them about the project, and I've even gotten some of them on board to want to maybe write in the world, and I won't even tell them what the name of it is or what it's about. So if they watch this, they're gonna be all pissed off now, or just think I'm a dummy. Dream. Have any of your book ideas originated with a dream or a nightmare? Yes, especially my poetry. I'm trying to think if any. One storyline in Black Star Canyon came from a nightmare I had. Is that it? That might be it, actually. And Cartween Twain was a dream. That was like beginning to end. Um,
Was it?
yeah. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. Um, Doppelganger number 8. This is so funny because like when I read this out earlier, me and Zoe both were like, "Gee, okay, Doppelganger. Have you? Excuse me, that was rude, Gmail. Have you ever had an idea for a story, but then see a similar premise in a book, TV show, or movie all of the effing time? Um, Especially when I was writing the Bloodlust Romance and Bloodlust Revenge. Right after I wrote those scripts, um, or after I wrote the first script, House of a Thousand Corpses came out, the Rob Zombie movie. In case you've been living under a rock. Jesus fucking Christ, babe.
Sorry.
Why are you doing this stuff every time I start a video?
Sorry.
She just knocked a bunch of shit and books off of the book cart. Um, so that whole thing happened. But yeah, it happens a lot. And I think it's just because I'm aware of it, and these things probably are always being made, and I just don't think about it until I see it. Kind of like I drive a Honda Element, and I never even noticed how many flapping Honda Elements there are everywhere until I started driving a Honda Element. Um, so yeah, they're freaking everywhere. Big screen inspiration. Have any of your favorite movies or TV shows sparked ideas for scenes in your book? Um, I've never hid this at all, but like Black Star Canyon was totally influenced by Twin Peaks. Um, and The Prisoner. I thought um, the island was just like the weirdest place in the world on that show. Not that shitty AMC remake, the original Prisoner. Um, but there was a movie, it was a German movie, and then they got the director who made it um, and brought him over here, and he did the movie basically shot for shot with Tim Roth and Naomi Watts. But it's a movie called Funny Games. And the German version, the American version, not so much, but the German version, there's this event that happens pretty close to the end of the movie that totally victimizes you as a viewer of the movie. And I felt so robbed and cheated. Um, and that was like probably the first time when I ever saw that somebody could create something that's fake and make somebody feel like that raw emotion. And I was just like, fuck, if I could ever do that to somebody, that's like worth it right there. So this event in this movie, I try to emulate that reaction that the viewer or reader would get from something that I'm writing. So that's always in my head. Any David Lynch movie or anything like that, or shorts or anything, always inspires me. Always. Um, so yeah. Nostalgia. What's the oldest slash first story idea you remember coming up with and writing down? When I was a kid, I've talked about this on here before too. I made a comic book. I think I made like 3 issues of it. I thought I saw somebody coming through my door right there. That was terrifying. But it was my finger like flapping around. It was a comic book called Z-Men because, as you can see, I've always been super creative and have never tried to rip anything off before. And the the people in it were like people, and this probably came from Masters of the Universe. Like every good guy had like a polar opposite bad guy that was like their nemesis. So like the main dude was Diaper Man, and he was like a grown man with like a mustache, but he was like bald like a baby, and he wore a diaper, and he was really short, and he had two baby bottles, and if he squeezed one, a dagger would come out of the nipple, and if he squeezed the other one, acid would come out. And I can't remember what the team names were, but it was like the Diaper Pins or something stupid like that. And then so that was baby, or no, that was Diaper Man. And then on the bad guy team there was Baby Man, and he was like exactly the same as Diaper Man, but instead of a mustache, he had a beard. And then there was like Strong Man and Muscle Man, and like his fists would come off, and if he flexed his muscle really hard, it would turn into a bubble that would like pick people up and like float them into space. Yeah, because that's a thing. Um, and then there was like Tornado Man and Cyclone Man, um, Rope Man and Wire Man. That took some thinking. And then I remember there was a bad guy who was a shark that rode a surfboard that shot torpedoes out. He shot torpedoes out of his hand. But the good guy equivalent was a half whale, like sperm whale, half man, who rode like a knee board. It was probably supposed to be like a bodyboard, but for some reason I always drew him on his knees because he had a harpoon, and the harpoon had like a rope hooked onto it that would come out of his belly button. So he would like try to harpoon stuff, and then he could like reel it in by, I don't know, flexing his guts or something. So that was the first thing I ever wrote down. I even made little action figures out of cardboard for those.
So cute.
Good times. You know what? I think I found it in the garage too. The
Really?
folder that all that stuff was in when I was looking for my other notebooks today. And then I have a other like kind of big fantasy thing that I started working on in high school that I'm still kind of toying with, actually. It's like way stripped down to what it was, but I was reading a lot of Tolkien and all that shit. But it's weird because I don't know exactly how this relates, but it was a mix of Lord of the Rings and Canterbury Tales.
Really?
Yeah. And in like my Peachy folder that has all my notes and stuff, I had or I still have it because I haven't like moved any of it, but I have a Cliff Notes book of Canterbury Tales in there, and like there's a bunch of shit highlighted and like pages folded with God knows why information in there. But it's just like a fantasy, like road story, very much like Lord of the Rings in that sense. But I don't know. That Canterbury Tales, that Chaucer,
Chaucer.
Chaucer. There's no N. There's no N in Chaucer, guys. Jesus fucking
Why did
Christ.
you ever think there was?
I always thought there. I think it's because it was Canterbury Tales.
Chaucer.
No,
Oh my god.
because there was an N. Because like Canterbury Tales, but it's Canterbury Tales.
So it has to be.
There's an N in it,
Chaucer.
so it's Chaucer.
Oh, babe.
That's the only thing I come up with. But I actually knew it when I said it a second ago because she made fun of me for that like 6 months ago. Probably also on a video. But yeah, so I tag all of my Authortube buddies. So like Peter Clark, Zane, Britt, Devin, if you guys ever come back. Zoe.
What?
Nothing.
I'm not a booktuber.
Okay, calm down.
I'd love to do it,
but she thinks she'll get beat up at the grocery store if people find out. She's got cold sores, guys. Really bad. She's run down. She's been really ill. So, keep her in your thoughts, guys. And, so everyone should do this. It's super fun. What is happening? Oh, babe.
What? What's the problem? Mind your own business.
That was my book. She just pulled some sticky stuff off. Okay, bye, everybody. I'm trying to turn this off and it's not. I'm like Grandpa Simpson right here. You're standing in the light. But I'm actually done with the video.